Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Killers of the Flower Moon, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, Brendan Fraser, Jesse Plemons, and Robert De Niro. Now, Martin Scorsese is certainly a filmmaker who's been extremely influential in the art form, for whether it's for his crime films, his children's film Hugo, or this film that examines the real true crime events of the Osage Nation murders. Martin Scorsese does not hold anything back when it comes to his cinematic achievements, and despite this film being 3.5 hours long, at no point does it ever get boring. And let me tell you, that is quite an accomplishment. But let's get to the story at hand here, shall we? The story follows Ernest Burkhart, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, heads over to Oklahoma to take part in the Osage Nation when it turns out that these Native Americans have found oil in their lands. This has helped the nation gain a lot of wealth and prestige, and uh, William, played by Robert De Niro, Ernest's uncle, is trying to help him profit off of this. But when several murders happen to various Osage men and women, it's very clear that someone's going to have to investigate and solve what's been going on with these murders. The duty falls upon Tom White, played by Jesse Plemons, as Molly, played by Lily Gladstone, has to deal with her various family members ending up in the killings, as she also tries to survive alongside Ernest, even when revelations about the true nature of who's been performing the murders comes to light. But that's all I'll say about the story. Naturally, since this movie is 3.5 hours long, there's a lot to put into this film. The origins of how Ernest manages to get to Oklahoma to begin with, the actual murders and the investigation thereof, and various complications that occur both during and after the the crimes at hand. Like a lot of Martin Scorsese's crime films, a lot of the characters do come across as very anti heroic, but at the same time, they do feel more realistic in that sense. Martin Scorsese does a really good job at making his characters feel like real people, whether it's through their narration, their dialogue, or the fact that they have bits of good and bad in them. And Leonardo DiCaprio does a great job with that role, especially considering he has a lot of range in it. But I think the one who impressed me the most was Lily Gladstone. She has to put up with a lot, considering she has a big family that end up as targets throughout the film. She's giving birth to various children while she's also suffering from diabetes. And she obviously gets put through a lot of grief in the film that's captured beautifully and in a very raw fashion. And Lily Gladstone is definitely up to the task. Granted, there are some other great supporting actors like Jesse Plemons, John Lithgow, and Brendan Fraser in the film, but they really only make sporadic appearances here and there, especially near the trials near the end of the film. So really, it's down to DiCaprio, Gladstone, and Robert De Niro to take the bulk of the film and to hold it up for most of it. And thankfully, they're very good at it. The budget for the film is about $200 million, and despite the fact that most of the film takes place in a few very specific locations, you can tell the money's on the screen. The cinematography is great, capturing the time period and the environment very well. There's lots of great one take shots that capture a lot of detail with it when it comes to the costumes, the and even the bloody violence that occurs throughout the film, which happens realistically and without much in the way of fanfare. And there's one scene in particular that's especially harrowing and that gets some gore effects that actually got me to tense up a bit. And as someone who sees gore quite often in these types of films, that's saying something. While the film may seem a bit overstuffed, it never feels like its pacing is off when it comes down to it. It certainly happens to follow Martin Scorsese's filmmaking formula, but it does so well, and it does so with a story in a time period we're not used to the point where I feel it fully justifies the over 200 minutes that it has for it. And that's why I'm going to give The Killers of the Flower Moon a 9.5 out of 10. See you next time.